Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ECAT Headquarters. I am your lovely host, Carmichael, also known as Mikey, here today with Winona. Say hi.
Hello.
I've heard you say it differently before. Is it Winona or Winona?
Winona.
Okay, my apologies. I've heard it said Winona in the past. Okay,
It's
Winona. Who will you
honestly,
be
it's
playing
either
today?
way. I'd say it's the same thing with say I'm used to it.
Ah, my apologies.
It's all right.
Winona, who will you be playing today?
I'll be playing the little boy Mad Lad.
And I will be playing a fun little ham. Now, for context, before this particular FPS begins, this takes place before the second episode of Hunting Party. I want to make it clear, I do not mean Hunting Party Episode 1 Part 2, I do mean Hunting Party Episode 2. So, for those that are listening, or those that are putting this into a compilation, this before, right? It's before the Hunting Party Episode 2?
Yes.
This will take place before Hunting Party Episode 2, so this FPS goes before the game.
And
Along with another one we might record if we have time and somebody gets promptly, absolutely walloped fast enough. But, don't worry about
possibly,
it.
yeah. I say don't worry. If you're looking at my playlist, it will be in order. But if you're watching this out of order, this is where it is.
So, there will be no spoilers to Hunting Party Episode 2, but it would be fun to watch this before the game. If you don't, it might be a little bit confusing as to why Mad Lad is actually cheerful and loves living at the moment.
Yeah.
The title of this episode is Trotting Hanmā, a little test of strength, also known as Trotting Hammer, a little test of strength. It takes from the old Japanese titles of the Hamtaro episodes, which, if I translate them correctly, usually started with trotting and then a different word, and then would say the episode title unless it was a particularly special title. I'm trying, I am doing my best. Unfortunately, some things
You
do
are
not
doing your best, and we
translate.
appreciate you for it.
I am trying to maintain part of the Hamtaro vibe. Because the Ham is in fact Hamtaro based, which is going to be funny considering the fact it's a barbarian with a fuck off big hammer. Anyway, the way our episode starts today is, would you like to start it with me or you?
Let's start with you.
All right. So the treehouse has been active as of late. Adventures have gone back and forth between places. Folks have been sent on assignments. There is, of course, the folks that did finally come back from the vault in Goldwind, so they've been resting a lot, profusely. It was exhausting. None of them apparently want to talk about it. Except for Bowtie, who apparently mentions not liking computers as much. Funky. However, one particular member in the treehouse is conspicuously missing. Or, well, rather, two. For the lovely little hamster containments, the little packages, the special containers, the special boxes and the special cages, so to speak, for the hamsters are empty. For Thor and Dustball are out exploring. Or shall I say they're coming back from exploring. Because Thor is dragging behind his bright white and orange body a rather large pair of deer. That it feasibly looks like something of his tiny, mere inches in height should not be able to feasibly drag behind him. But he is doing so, and Dustball is just sort of scampering alongside him. And though their language can't be understood by the viewer, it just sounds like hamsters squeaking, it's clear there is a positive conversation going on, as Thor is finding a safe place to hang the deer for later, skinning, disemboweling, butchering, that kind of thing. Also, preferably out of sight of the other treehouse members, presumably assuming none of them want to see a deer get properly butchered as a hunter should.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone wants to come home from an adventure and see a tiny hamster with an oversized knife doing anything to a deer. I feel like that's when someone reevaluates their career choice and goes somewhere else and becomes a farmer.
Yeah.
But as he is appropriately putting the deer aside and concealing them far enough away that the smell won't attract anything, he does notice that there is a bit more movement in there than usual, particularly from a small familiar face. He kind of pauses and then glances over to Dustball. What do you think, comrade? Should we check it out? Dustball thinks a moment and then goes, yeah! And off they go. Keep in mind, their words are subtitled because they are still speaking hamster. They are still speaking beast.
Yes.
So they go ahead and scamper on over to the treehouse, and what do they see when they look inside one of the windows, Mad Lad?
Say, as they're say sort of say as they look into one of the windows, Mad Lad is currently just honestly doing some house cleaning. He's trying to clean up some of his. He's trying to properly take care of his gun. You can also see there's like laundry bags on his side of the room. Sort of just like organized and stuff. He's doing a sort of a spring cleaning sort of thing today. Says he's actually motivated to do it for once.
Ah, yes, the mythical brief inspiration to do house chores that everyone wishes they had, but it just hits them by surprise instead.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt
Yeah.
that so hard. I want the motivation to do dusting later today. I really, really do.
I feel
But
that.
anyway, but anyway. So of course Thor sees that, and there's just a tiny little three-shaped smile on his face as he watches that. Well, look at that! It appears our comrade's been motivated to clean up the pen today. And Dustball kind of just looks over as there's a lot of different particles and what would look like really nice food to pick up off the floor just being swept up and thrown in the trash. Dustball looks confused by this gesture. Oh, not to worry, comrade, not to worry. We'll have plenty of food when we get back in our pen. Come on. Dustball just hesitates a moment and then goes, if you say so, but that's perfectly good breadcrumb on the floor. One of those looks like they have sugar on it. We'll have plenty when we get back in. Come on. Aww. And they scamper aside with the funny little sound effects. And yeah, they eventually they don't head in the traditional door. Is the thing. Because Thor is very, very used to sneaking in and out of the treehouse and sneaking in and out of his cage. He essentially scales the tree itself, climbs past the window, along some of the branches, and finds an opening to get through, crawls into what is essentially the trunk of the tree itself, not into the room space, into the thick bark of it, into some of the tunnels and burrow passageways that he has dug into the wood itself, and ever so smoothly and effortlessly, boing, sneaks right back into his cage and pops Dustball back into his appropriate pen, and they just close it and make it look locked like they were there the whole time.
Honestly, fair. About that is probably in one of the since he's like in a mood for cleaning for actually once. Probably didn't even know that they were gone in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That Mad Lad also knows, like, yeah, Thor is their own person and everything. They can go and leave whenever they want.
One would probably worry about the fact that he's just able to get out of the cage at will, but he's not doing anything bad, so shrug?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, they're intelligent. Mad Lad assumes they're gonna be fine.
And as Mad Lad is cleaning, you do hear the traditional growlix of, "Hail and well met, young man! What's motivated you to clean today?"
Mad Lad looks over. Oh, hey Thor. I don't know. He shrugs. Just felt like cleaning.
He thinks this over for a moment, and then nods. It does tend to strike whenever it's most convenient. How much have you gotten done so far?
Actually, I'm almost done now. Just needed to put the laundry in the laundry basket so it could be taken away to done that. Throw away the trash and say, just finish up. Right now, I'm just finishing up cleaning my gun. As he gestures to the different parts of the gun that are completely disassembled and he is currently cleaning properly.
I see. That does seem to be a lot of parts for a weapon. Why not stick with something simple, like a spear or an axe? It just looks like a lot of hassle.
It may be a hassle, but at the same time, this is a very powerful weapon. I have definitely won many a battle with this.
Give me just a moment. Oh, it's called ham chat. Okay, my mistake, internet. Anyway. How many battles have you won with it?
Mad Lad just like starts counting on his fingers, and then he just like closes and opens again. And then he just settles on a lot. Haven't been beaten yet.
I see. That sounds impressive.
Mhm.
How often do you win without it?
I mean, I did go to say underground fighting thing once, and I didn't have my gun, but I also had like a ranged chicken thing. It was a lot of fun. I'm really good with just ranged weapons in general.
So what you're saying is you would be incredible at a distance, but anything could beat you if it's close range.
Yeah, one would think, but I've also trained in my gunsmithing sort of like fighting style that I can actually do close range too.
Yes, but do you use anything else other than this gun?
I have a sword.
And how often do you win with a sword?
Not off. I don't really use the sword. I have it just in case, but I don't really need it in fights.
Normally because you use the most powerful thing on the field, that way your enemy has no chance of survival. I see, a merciless option.
Yeah, it's basically defeat them before they get a chance to defeat you.
So like us, your children are also taught to kill.
Huh, I never thought of it
You
like
don't
that, but yes.
Yeah, you do not need insight to know he has taken the complete wrong angle from what you just explained.
Which is fair. But honestly, Mad Lad grew up on a pirate ship. It isn't wrong in his eyes either.
Yeah, Mad Lad needs some therapy.
Yeah.
That's still not normal for kids. But
No.
Mad Lad doesn't know that yet. I
No.
glanced toward Hunting Party episode 2.
Yeah.
So, seeing as your gun is in pieces you cannot use at the moment, and you are not very good with your sword.
Hey, I never said I wasn't good with my sword. I just don't use it that often. I am officially proficient with using
You
a
don't use it
sword.
that often. You don't use it that often because you're bad with it, is what you're saying.
No, I'm good with using a sword. I could beat you with it.
You have said the correct sentence as those big old round eyes get a twinkle. I'm hearing a lot of talk from somebody who hasn't used it that often.
Alright then, challenge accepted. I'll defeat you with a sword.
Alright. Do you want the advantage of leaving me in a box, or do we want to take this back outside?
Oh, we're going outside for this.
Alright. And he turns to Dustball and goes, Apologies, friend. I don't believe you'll be able to watch the battle from where you are right now, but I'll be sure to give you a recap when I get back. Don't eat all the food while we're gone. And you do completely watch as he just blatantly leaves the cage the exact same way he went and goes back into the tree.
Bad Lad's like, I'll show him. And Mad Lad just reestablishes his gut. Say once he like finishes cleaning it, because he was like almost done finishing cleaning. It's like, okay, finish cleaning it really quickly and then put it together correctly. Then I go down. And when he's done, he goes back. He goes outside with a pirate saber in one hand.
Are you still carrying the gun?
I'll say it's properly put away now.
All right. When you get back out, you don't see Thor immediately. It kind of takes you a minute to try and figure out where Thor went until you hear that little squeak of, over here! And you turn, and yeah, there's a clearing across from the treehouse. Not very clear, but it's enough that at least a tiny creature would see it as a battlefield. You probably not so much.
Yeah, Madeline goes over and he's like, that's good for like for a tiny person like you, but for me, that's
I'm a ham, not a person.
Ham. Sorry about that. That'd be perfect for a ham, but unfortunately for me, for a toon like me, it's a little bit too small.
But you were also small. You can't fit?
Not that small, unfortunately. I know a better place for. I know they have like a little practice ground near the back of the treehouse. Come on.
All right, lead the way. And the little hamster just scampers after you.
And Mad Lad shows them to what I assume there would be like a little mini training ground in the back of the treehouse, or somewhere near it. And there's like this one little sort of kind of arena made of dirt. Kind of looks like a kind of mixture between like like a ring and not a ring. Like it doesn't have anything around it, but at the same time, it's just a little open dirt field.
And he looks around and goes, oh yeah, this'll do quite nicely. Now, if I've heard most with two-legged sparring matches, you usually go, 20 paws?
20 paws.
What do you call your paws? He points to your. He's pointing to your feet.
Feet. They're technically feet, but it's about 20 foot, say, from each other.
All right, we turn around and take 20 steps.
Yeah.
You don't quite realize it until you're turning around and doing the traditional dueling walk. But you might have made a slight miscalculation. 20 feet is fine for you, but 20 feet for you and 20 paws for Thor are different distances. So while you walk the 20 feet, you don't quite notice it until it's too late. He walks only 10.
Yeah, Mad
Then
Lad.
extends a wild shape, turns around, and is going to barrel at you. You were taking an ambush before initiative.
Yeah, Mad Lad is a kid. He don't do math that well sometimes.
In all fairness, it is the hand going, 20 steps! Got it! Except his 20 steps are tiny.
Yeah.
Now, when we roll initiative, it would be nice to mark it in the roll zone.
No,
that way you can read it from other numbers. So, does he have... I don't recall if he has an ability for advantage on his initiative. No, I don't think so. I think
I know barbarians do at a higher level.
Not at this level. Not at this level.
I don't think technically at this level yet.
Okay, so give me just a moment.
Unless you're not, depends if you're a pure barbarian or not.
Okay, so... Now, you will be taking the ambush before initiative properly starts. So... And I am safe to assume that for the sake of fairness, Red is not involved in this.
Yeah, Red. No, this is an honor battle between two people. From fighters.
Now, here's what happens before you turn around. You don't necessarily... It doesn't make like some magical girl transformation sparkly sound effect. You just hear the steps kind of get more solid.
Yeah.
And so part of it almost thinks like, okay, so Thor must be getting into a battle stance. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to turn around. And then you kind of think for like a split second and go, the heavy footsteps sound like they're getting closer. And as the screen briefly blurs, and for a moment you can almost make the joke of the "we'll be right back" kind of screen.
Yeah.
What comes onto screen what comes into view and what ambushes you is not a traditional... It is a beast, but it's not one that you have seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It essentially looks like if you gave a shark the mouth the size of a whale, armored steel plating, and big anteater legs. Like big, heavily armored legs that cross between a rhinoceros and an anteater with the big claws and the heavy... allow me to just pull up the art of what he turns into.
Yeah,
Give me just a
fair.
moment. Now, of course, keep in mind for the sake of CR, he turns into a young version, not the normal adult version.
Mm-hmm.
What he turns into, and since you have not really seen this before, you would have to roll nature to identify it, is this thing!
Ah,
Which
yes, I know what that is.
Now, I will say the weird thing, and I don't get why this is. This thing is technically qualified into two different things at different stages in its life. The adult is classified as a monstrosity, but the young one is classified as a beast?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it's like that. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like some lore thing that says it, but I don't remember.
My brain considers these a beast because even though they aren't the most common, it is only just rumor that they're created by something else, and usually it's just said that they have a secretive nesting area elsewhere, and they also just kind of pop up underground, not even near any wizards. So it's
Yeah.
like... Adventures never put them near any wizards and never give them any arcane origins. They're just guys. They're just hungry little guys.
Yeah.
I'd say little, like they're not fucking massive,
No,
but
I know this.
essentially, what you almost hear is a cartoon train sound effect.
Mm-hmm.
And allow me to pull up the stat block. So that is the extra. You had moved 20 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, that comes into the effect of charge. So I need to hit you with the gore attack on the same turn. So that is 1d20 plus 7.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a sec. Does a 25 hit you?
Yeah, 25 would hit.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2d8 plus 5. And then another 2d8. And then you need to succeed on a strength saving throw.
Alright.
As you are essentially, you're almost flashed back to when you had that fight with a shark with Roguefort.
Yeah.
When he was just trying to fish and mind his own business. Except there aren't really any shark teeth here. What you get is this thing has a sort of serrated beak-like mouth. It's just also a beak big enough to swallow a small child. So that is dirty 20.
Yeah, Mad Lad ain't gonna survive this. That's a 3 plus a 3. That's a 6.
You are prone.
Yeah, so that was a 20 for hit. All right.
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. Yeah, Mad Lad is just like, oh.
Yeah, you have been barreled over with what feels like a small car. Or I guess in a child's case is, you know those videos with kids like running over other kids with the toy trucks?
Yeah.
That, except if it was politely made out of actual metal.
Yeah.
You're hit with a frying pan! You're hit with a frying pan. You're giving the old Princess Peach. Clang!
Mm-hmm.
But, with the ambush out of the way, initiative officially starts. So Mad Lad with a 16, you're up, and you're also prone and under this large... You would actually need to roll a nature check to figure out what it is, and you are allowed one free check.
Yeah, Mad Lad is definitely gonna make that nature check.
Now, if you fail this, then the next time you
Okay,
want to try and make a trick...
Okay, that's a dirty 20. No, dirty 19. That's a 19. I was looking at the modifier above it. All right.
You get at least one free check at the start of combat. After that, you would have to make an action to make any checks, or at least like things to like look into things or investigate or figure something out. The 19, however, would tell you that's a bullet. And it's not spelled the same way it's said. It is usually said like a bullet or a belay. It depends on where you are. It's a regional discrepancy. both are considered valid pronunciations. It is a... Some have assumed it to be migratory, but it is a wandering type of creature. Most have tried classifying it as a monster, but in truth, after enough study, wizards did figure out it's a natural predator in the environment. It's just the issue that it's nomadic in nature and it tends to stay underground. They usually use their big claws to burrow when they hunt, uproot trees, cause landslides, leave sinkholes, and normally known as the land shark, which admittedly in your small child brain, this is actually kind of close to what you think it would sound like when someone describes a land shark. It does look like a shark with legs. It just also has solid steel armor. And they are essentially known to be ravenous, more so than the counterpart that they're named after in the sea. These don't need to just bump you and don't just test you with their bites. If it will fit in their mouth, they will eat it. Frog mentality, bull's attitude.
Yeah.
So, now the good news is you know what it is. The bad news is you know it's tanky as fuck.
Uh-huh.
And you also just got gored by it. So after the bite attack, you'll have been knocked prone. So it will take half your movement to get up.
Indeed. Indeed. Let's see. Did you say it's actually on top of him, or it's away from him now?
It's on top of him.
I see.
It is in your grill. It's your little hamster friend, and you do kind of note the slight similarities of color between your hamster friend and this belay, for the fact that it's mostly white, and you could see some splashes of orange here and there. The eyes are unusually twinkly for the fact that they are absolutely affectionately bloodthirsty. You can't recognize hamster in those.
Yeah, Mad Lad sees this thing on top of him and knows that this thing likes to swallow stuff, or at least chew stuff up, and Mad Lad gives a wry grin. He's gonna roll a hammer space.
Alright.
Alright, that's an 8. And Mad Lad takes out what looks to be a handful of blueberries that smell very delicious, and he basically chucks them into this bullet's mouth.
Okay, so that'll be a throwing attack. Throwing is ranged. You will be tossing that at disadvantage.
Alright.
I know its mouth is big, but throwing usually counts as ranged.
Yep. But at least I got a high modifier.
Don't say that out loud.
I know.
Every time you say, hey, at least, hey, I'm good at, every time you say you're gonna jinx yourself. You gotta not do that.
Okay. Alright. So
Hang
that's
on.
11 is a 11 and a 16, so it'd be 11. 11 is a... No, that's not what I want to type.
If that's 11 on the... If it's 11 on the die, it hits. A young belay's armor class is only 11.
Is a 11 plus 9.
You hit it. I just need to roll one more thing to see that it lands in the mouth and not on the face. So that is... Because the thing is, it's not like it's going to stay in its mouth, because the thing is, they're not herbivores.
But he knows a hamster is. Or at least omnivores. And let me get you the description of these, because these are items that I bought a long time ago that I never got to use, but these are blueberries. These light blue berries smell delicious and are absolutely mouthwatering, but chewing these berries will cause them to begin to gum up and seal the eater's mouth shut. The eater can no longer eat, drink, talk, or use spells with any verbal components. The effects will last for 2d4 hours until your saliva naturally breaks down the adhesive. But the berries are really delicious.
Uh-oh. Hang on a minute. I need to look something up real quick to make sure that this stays goofy and this does not go the horrible route immediately. Okay, and And let me check how to... Okay. And we're looking at, Okay, so the young belays have the sort of... Ah! Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to roll something real quick. So you're using your action to toss the blueberries?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to roll intelligence for Thor to see if he's smart enough not to chew or not.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, his intelligence is like slightly better than a bullet's, but that's not saying much. Because essentially when you wild shape, you use the physical stats, not the mental.
Mm-hmm.
So, thankfully, that's a good thing because young belays have only 2 intelligence. He does not need a -4. Huh.
Okay.
So, in a cartoon moment of funny, you do toss them in, and the beak sort of... There's the brief hamster instinct in there. Choose for a moment. A problem arises. At first, it feels triumphant because you seal the bullet's mouth shut. Here's the problem. And I need you to roll me a perception check real quick. I'm gonna roll 2d4.
Do they not have... I swore they had noses they could breathe out of.
They have nostrils. I'm thinking of the hamster mouth once he changes.
But belays have... They say has nostrils. They say he should be able to breathe.
No, I get that.
Okay.
The problem is, the glue will transfer once he changes. And while hamsters also have noses and mouths, they're kind of piped differently.
Alright.
7 hours. Dear Lord.
I mean, this is also too logic. It doesn't have to be exact.
No, you're good. You're good. This isn't going to go horrifying. I'm just trying to make sure.
What was the roll for?
The roll was for how many hours the glue's gonna last.
Oh yeah, 2d4.
Which I already rolled it.
Ah, fair. I thought you said you wanted me to roll something. Perception, you said?
Yep.
Perception. Okay. What do you get? All right. Actually, I'll just roll it right here. Well, let's say, There we go.
So, at first you kind of see as the big claws sort of stumble back, you see the mouth trying to move in this cartoony way, just the paws and the claws kind of up and scraping at the beak. This is endearing and funny at first. The problem is, the way beaks and the nares, which are the beak's nostrils, work. The belay has begun to suffocate. If he turns back into a hamster, he can breathe fine. The problem is he's not doing that. The claws try and scrape and pry and dig in. The beak won't open up. The head kind of tilts this way and that. And you don't hear any snorting or snuffing. Which is weird. It has the nares. It has the bird nostrils, but you also don't know how a bird beak works?
I mean, it says it could technically say it never said about not like breathing or anything. I'm pretty say.
Give me a minute. He's not in any danger. The problem is he's just kind of starting to turn blue. Visually. I'm giving it a description. He's not in danger right now. He's fine.
Okay, that's I just want to make sure because that's what you're sort of sounding like. It's just like
he can breathe fine. It's just a matter of he's not... This is the cartoon kind of suffocating, not the, oh, shit, we need to get that open kind. So, first thing he's going to do is he's going to back away from you the appropriate amount.
Yeah.
And then he's going to charge again.
I mean, Mad Lad was also I was gonna cast Hunter's Mark on
Oh,
on
my
this
bad.
thing too. So
Go ahead, yeah. Hunter's Mark works.
yeah.
So action blueberries, bonus action Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, and then if the bullet's gonna get off him, he's gonna use his movement to stand up and get out of prone.
All right, you just won't be able to move again.
That's fair. He just needs
okay,
not.
and with yeah, he's not on top of you, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's gonna back away from you an appropriate amount, and once he's backed up enough, his bonus action is he's gonna rage. And give me just a moment.
Can you? I don't think you can rage.
No, you can. You can. It's a feature of the class, and when you're wild shaped as a druid, you still maintain the benefits of your class. Raging counts.
All right, fair enough.
He is also Circle of the Moon, so.
Fair enough. I just don't see that combination that often.
So, he's going to bonus action rage, and we are going to recklessly charge your fucking ass.
You know, fair.
2d20 plus 7. Actually, hang on, let me check his sheet real quick. I believe this is right. No, rage just adds to the damage. Okay, gotta make sure. Okay. So, ayo. Does a 26 hit you?
I mean, a 19 is right on his armor class, so yes.
Jesus, why does the small boy have 19 AC?
Well, no, it's a 18. It's a technically 18 AC. I'm thinking of his other character sheet.
I was about to say 19 is that's slightly much.
Look, Serpent Scale armor is perfect for him.
Okay, so that is going to be 2 rage damage. And because he hit, that's going to be 2d8 bludgeoning, and you need to make another strength saving throw.
Alright.
So 2d8 plus 5 plus 2. This is going to be pure bludgeoning damage going your way, by the way. Well, mostly bludgeoning and rage.
Alright.
14
that's
total
a lot better
damage.
than last time, so that's,
The good news is, you don't go prone. The bad news is there is now a belay in your space.
There is a belay in my space.
Let me check his sheet real quick. Does he get... Alright, at the moment, he's good. So, it's your turn. You have taken 14 more damage. How's your health looking at the moment?
You got him into bloodied, for sure. But he's also not using his full... He's not using his full potential here, too. And technically, he can't use even his class abilities because that all pertains to firearms. You basically murdered the boy.
Thor is testing your blade skills. Pick up your sword.
And he has his sword.
So use it. Use it, coward. Use the sword.
Alright.
There is also
There
is also a secondary reason Thor doesn't actually want to fight a gun, but I don't think you want to know because that might bump up the angst meeting a bit.
Alright. Let's see. As a bonus action, he's going to use his second wind ability. So he's going to heal up stuff. And as Thor would see him heal up, it's sort of weird. It's almost like he's regenerating, like a natural healing ability. It isn't much, but still noticeable.
Better than nothing.
Okay, that is 10 HP that he gets, because 7 plus 3. And Mad Lad actually smiles as he does go in for an attack. Actually, wait, I need to check something, how this is worded.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically, Thor is alright fighting with swords. He would not want to spar, even with the gun. Like, he wouldn't even want to playfully spar for personal reasons being, small animal does not have good memories looking down the barrel of a gun.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right, Mad Lad first smiles as he goes in for another goes in for attack with his sword, and that will. Actually, no, he's not. Actually, yeah, he is. He's trying to think. This boy is thinking he wants to win, but he's like, maybe I can use fire. Nope, I said I would use my sword. All right. That would probably hit. That is a that's a dirty 20. I had to check on the sheet. So 7.
Yep. Again, you just have to meet and beat an 11 to hit, so.
Mm-hmm.
If you have bypassed an 11, just roll your damage.
Yep. All right. And Mad Lad is gonna roll his die, which is a I haven't used this in a long time.
Also, don't worry. Once you get him out of the belay shape, you will get the hammer to sword action.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to stay standing long enough.
Yeah, so that's gonna be 8 damage.
8 damage halved. Oh, sorry. Can finish the calculations.
I say 4 plus 4.
Okay. And it is just 8?
Yes.
So.
And since he hit, he also has his damage from Hunter's Well, I need to also see if he actually, has his Hunter's Mark as concentration. Yep, it does. He's able to concentrate, so he does get that extra D6 of damage.
And Hunter's Mark is, I believe, not halved, so.
No.
Yeah, wanted to make sure.
Which is only a 2, but still.
Still. Wanted to check and make sure. Wow, my words should be better.
Mm-hmm. It's alright.
You managed to find a weak point in the belay's armor, and this is kind of good practice for if you do find a young belay in the wild. But if you find an adult belay if you find an adult in the wild, you should just run. No amount of confidence is going to save you from a giant shark.
Yeah.
But you managed to find a sort of slip in this sort of exoskeletal plating, and you drive the blade through there, and because this is a sparring match and not a death match, you kind of just glance it off of the sensitive skin and just draw blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's raging, it doesn't do as much damage, but that's also, the point.
And
this is just a sparring match.
Yeah. And then Mad Lad is actually going to proc his action surge.
Mm-hmm.
And since he has a full action now, he is going to actually cast Fog Cloud.
Okay! I love seeing people fucking use Fog Cloud for a change! Hi, hello, yes, I've had an Archfey Warlock for years that uses it, and nobody ever sees the use in Fog Cloud. Thank you for actually putting that in your fucking list.
Oh, it is good. I like Fog Cloud.
Wow, hi, Sassy. Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you, baby girl. I have woken the kitty.
Aw.
I have woken the scratchy kitty, I'm sorry. Oh, kiss, kiss. Kiss, kiss, thank you. Ah.
And Mad Lad is actually, since he's facing the belay, is actually going to go to one of its sides. It's actually going to go one of its side after it casts his Fog Cloud. So, he's right beside Thor instead of right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They get disadvantage in attacks. Can't see shit.
Reckless will at least cancel it out to a straight roll, but that means he can't get advantage, so smart. Mm-hmm. So, is that your turn?
Yes.
Okay. So you've drawn blood, and you have at least wounded it. Not significantly, but you have wounded it, and that is still the good first step in any sparring match. And if the beak could open at all, you would probably hear a very strange and eerie imitation of laughter. Unfortunately, the beak is still sealed shut, and is going to be sealed shut for several hours.
Yeah, Mad Lad wants to make sure that he can't get bitten by this thing.
Which is funny, because you have disabled the bite attack. The only thing it has is the charge.
Yep. And Mad Lad's
So,
in the fog.
he's gonna back up 20 feet. How big is the fog cloud, by the way?
20 feet.
Oh, hey, that temporarily gets him out! Glances, and recklessly, this'll straighten it out. Going to charge in. So you hear the heavy footsteps. Let's see if it hits. 1d20 plus 7. Oh no! I get to pull up the funny table!
I mean, you technically would get a disadvantage because it's a fog. You can't see shit.
I said I used reckless, so it's a straight roll.
Oh, right. Streckless. Right.
I said it first!
Sorry, my mind just bleeped right there.
It's okay. So that is a nat 20 plus 7, so you think you're safe for a minute as he backs up. And then you hear the freight train noise again. Which you realize is probably a natural, weird sort of call that the belay makes.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sounds like a freight train horn, but you hear it a little too late as it immediately fucking barrels into you with the force of a small train. So 1d100 for the funny ha-has. A 72.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll double the damage die.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 48. You will need to succeed on another strength check. Or strength saving throw.
Yep.
That is 21 bludgeoning plus the rage damage.
That doesn't do shit. That's a 5 on the die.
So you are going to be knocked back down again. You take 23 total damage. 2 of them is rage. 21 is normal. And according to the table, your senses heighten and you become aware of threats around the battlefield. You were able to use the dodge action after your attack. So the belay is gonna fucking dodge. Now you have disadvantage.
Yeah.
It is not on top of you, though. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You do hear what sounds like a muffled attempt at a roar from the belay, but unfortunately it cannot get its cool war cry out, because again you have glued its beautiful mouth shut with these beautiful, delicious blueberries.
Yeah.
It still isn't doing the best breathing, by the way, but this is comedic, not actually in need of help.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, again, you've disabled the bite. That would be doing a bit more damage. The problem is it just keeps backing up and bulldozing you.
Indeed.
So it's your turn!
Yeah, Mad Lad is actually gonna stay where he's at, and he's actually gonna ready in action and get ready to actually be ready for the charge.
Alright, what action are you readying? An attack?
Now he wants to try to get on top of this thing. He's gonna rodeo this shit.
Okay, so that'll be an action in an attempt to grapple it, correct?
Basically.
Okay. Well, we'll consider it a grapple. Okay. Okay, alright. So, you spend your turn readying your action, and you're kind of just trying to sit and wait, because you kind of get the tactic for the belay now that you've sealed the mouth shut. It can't bite you up close.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to keep banking on backing up and doing the bull's charge.
Mm-hmm.
And you do occasionally see when So-san is raging, he still tries to claw the glue open, so you don't know how funny it is that his mouth is shut or if he genuinely doesn't like it. But you can't find out at this moment because, again, you've sealed his mouth for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you also don't know if he's eaten yet or not, so that's 7 hours without food, too.
Yeah.
But we'll think about that later. At the moment, we're just having a fun little time. So the belay backs up again, and you watch it disappear into your fog. Oh yeah, by the way, since you procced Fog, Cloud, and Hunter's Mark, could you roll concentration?
Actually, he had to say he can't do two concentration at the same time. So he probably just would be the fog cloud. Um, Technically the fog cloud still stands as at a
Okay,
10.
neat. For those that are not in the know for the sake of the FPS, when we say roll concentration, if a spell requires concentration but the caster takes damage, according to Dungeons & Dragons rules, you must roll a Constitution saving throw for concentration. It is usually considered that a 10 would beat it, because you just have to meet or beat a 10. Sometimes a DM may rule that the DC is higher depending on the difficulty of the spell, but for the sake of this FPS, it's just a 10. Don't think about it too hard. We are following some standard rules here. This is a very classic enemy that you're fighting. The belay is, in my opinion, underused and
No, I agree.
understated.
It is. I have to say, I actually haven't really seen it being used other than myself. I actually used it once.
The most places I've seen it used, and again, this is part of why I debate when some folks, like, again, because it has an inconsistent background, and some folks claim it's wizard stuff, like, the most places I see it are in natural places like underground or in mines. There's never any fucking wizards there. They're just minding their business eating. There was, of course, one that did actually cause sinkholes, but, like, again, it was just a belay doing its thing.
Mm-hmm.
It also doesn't have any magic resistances, and you think a wizard would maybe give a toy that they made that. So, like, I don't want to give the wizards credit for this one. I just like it as a cool natural beastie.
Yeah, it's sort of weird, especially with the differences between young and old and adult. It really makes it inconsistent.
Yeah. In fairness, though, the adult belay's stat block comes from the Monster Manual, and the young belay's one comes from Princes of the Apocalypse.
Fair.
But I do want to consider them beasts for the sake of the fact that I just want D&D to have some normal fucking atrocities in the beast line, because some of them, yeah, they fit the monstrosity thing. Other times it's like, that's just a land shark. That's just a land shark. Let them have cool animals.
Yeah, honestly, in a magical world where there's dragons, let there be cool animals.
Of course, the other things they qualify as, a couple things they've qualified as monstrosities that in my brain probably should be considered beasts, but I can understand are qualified as monstrosities, things like perytons and owlbears. So, like,
yeah, but those also had more links to wizards.
Yeah, at least the owlbears have more of an excuse than a belay. Okay, we're getting off track.
Yeah,
we are getting off track. Basically, the owlbears are okay with being labeled monstrosities because they're more connected to their funky haha wizard roots, and the belays just deserve better, man. They just deserve better. Nobody ever uses the poor things. But it's gonna back up, it's gonna get ready, and we're gonna reckless so that we can straighten out the, so that we can try and actually hit something. 1d20 plus 7. Now, I will say, I know you are readying an action, but if you do take this hit, you still will need to roll a strength save. And if you go prone, you will not be able to get your grapple off, okay? So this is kind of a test of your reactions against each other, so to speak, without actually mechanically being reactions. Basically, can the belay knock you over, or can you get onto it? Motherfucker!
Honestly, Aubrey has been bullying me all day today.
Hey, audience! I would like to. I'd like to state for the record for using a dice bot, so it's not like we're using dice that have like a greater chance to roll. That's the second nat 20 in a row.
Honestly, it doesn't matter what this thing rolls. That would knock Mad Lad out. He's only at 7 HP.
Oh, buddy. Oh, pal. Oh, honey. So. Well, the thing is, I could still roll piss poor. Again, I could roll a bunch of ones.
No, it's not.
Like, it's 48 plus 2. If I just roll bare minimum, I just have to get under 7.
No, it's not going to be low enough. You're going to knock me out.
We'll see. And we're not going to double the rage damage because this is a sparring match. If this was a normal thing, If this was like a normal fight with an enemy that needed to be brought down, I would double the rage damage, but like, nah, this is just double damage die. Yeah, no. The
What did I
last
tell you? What did I tell you?
you are like, you're trying to get ready, you're trying to do the bull thing, but also you're kind of trying to think, huh, I've seen people do the bull trick in the Matador arenas. Have I ever done it? I could do it, right? Yeah, I've seen Toons do it. This should be easy. And
Nope.
as you're thinking over how easy it's going to be, so sleek and quick, and you're thinking of using your own weight, you can imagine it in your head how it's going to look right on top of the belay. We get another Eric Andre, we'll be right back screenshot, and dong! Taco Bell sound effect, you are out like a light.
Yep.
It's non-lethal damage, so you're just a snoozy.
Yeah.
So you knock out, and you are in the dark for a while. It's a nice nap. When you finally wake back up, hang on a minute. This 7-hour glue might be more of a problem if So-san can't actually use his. Oh no. You have eliminated his ability to do verbal component spells. He cannot heal you. He cannot wake you up. Roll me a 1d10.
Yeah.
This is not a death saving throw. This is how many hours you're out like a light.
4 hours.
Okay, so So-san will have 3 hours left on the glue.
Mm-hmm.
When you wake back up, you are still in the dirt. Red is kind of looking you over curiously, sort of nudging you with the sort of shovel point of the horn.
Yep.
And there is a small hamster sitting on your chest, who is looking kind of frustrated, but you can't tell whether it's at you or at something else. Because the hamster looks like it keeps trying something, and is just looking more and more frustrated it's not happening. The hamster does look like it can breathe, though. And as you're coming to consciousness, you kind of think, huh, why is the hamster upset? And then you think of the belay you tossed the blueberries into.
No, I
And the
think
fact that belay was a hamster.
No, here's the thing. I think Mad Lad, like, has one moment elapse, but then remembers and just grins like a cat. He may not have beaten him, but he has sure proven his resourcefulness.
True, but you are sitting at 1 hit point, and you can't be healed because you hit the guy with a healing spell with glue.
Mad Lad doesn't care. He's made a point.
So Red is kind of nudging you, and Thor is trying to use Grolix to communicate, but he can't do that without his mouth. So Thor taps on your face to try and get your attention, then goes over and picks up a fucking stick and tries to write.
Which is fair.
And instead writes in Grolix. That was well fought. You lost. Well played. Wish you didn't glue my mouth shut so I could actually heal you.
Worth it. You took away my main weapon. I had to be resourceful.
Thor thinks on that for a minute, nods, then swipes away the text and writes in Grolix. I am impressed at your resourcefulness. This is written in Grolix, mind you, it's not the best.
No, yeah.
However, I also do not like the idea of guns.
I mean,
You cannot really use a gun in a sparring match. Those are killing things. They kill.
There's rubber bullets. We could probably find some rubber bullets, but fair.
He writes down, rubber bullets still kill.
Did rubber bullets still kill?
He then draws an arrow. He draws what appears to be a very simple sketch of your gun.
That wasn't a character. That's just me. That's just me personally.
No. He's drawing this out as it happens because a humanoid. No, it wouldn't. He draws out the shape and size of your gun, and then points it with an arrow toward his tiny self. Even the smallest rubber bullet would kill him.
Mad Lad, thinks upon this, and he just nods his head. That's fair enough.
He nods. He also writes, I apologize. I wanted to give you practice with your blade instead of with that. You mentioned before you were already an excellent killer with it, so I did not wish to question your abilities and I did not wish to face guns again. So I figured I would give you blade practice. And you failed! He writes that with a heart next to it, by the way. You need to insight check to know whether he means that as a compliment or as an insult.
Mad Lad would probably take it as both in a way. But he will. Is that a... Okay, that's a 6, not a 9. Yeah, that's a 19.
On a 19, you are getting the sort of impression of both, but it's not meant to be a genuine insult. When he mentions that you failed, you notice that even though his mouth is still glued shut and his cheeks are still stained with blueberry, he is still very clearly chewing, so you've given the hamster gum. You don't know how healthy that is, but he's fine. This is Toon logic, so this is fine. And it is tasty, but you get both the sense of an insult that is actually affectionate in that, Thor firstly did in fact defeat you, and did in fact give you practice with your sword, but also a compliment in that, yes, you failed, but you still showed resourcefulness and cleverness without your gun. And again, the aforementioned point, he doesn't really go into it, the fact that you cannot really use a gun non-lethally on a very tiny hamster.
Yeah.
Like, if you tried, the angst rating would go through the fucking dollar. So,
Yeah.
I can't even explain around that. The size difference between the smallest rubber bullet and a hamster, no. Humanoid, maybe. Hamster, no. But it's both a mark of affection and pride of, yes, you did fail and I won, but you also failed in the good way that you fought, you were resourceful, you've glued my mouth shut, I'm thankful I can breathe, and you at least showed you wouldn't be completely defenseless without your gun. Because that was more the point that Thor wanted to make, as he continues writing, is that he wanted to be sure you could defend yourself with a sword if the gun was not your option.
Yeah. And Mad Lad nods. Yeah. But I eventually want to get, even though it is my main weapon, I eventually would maybe like to get a nice sword. It's not like high on my priority list, but a magical sword would probably help in one way or another.
He thinks and then writes in the dirt, "What would you need a magical sword for? Yours seems to work just fine."
Yeah, but I can't. But what if there's a monster that is resistant to like a regular sword like this? And Mad Lad holds it up. That's how I learned that that my other gun, my pistol, wasn't a very effective against ghosts. What if I meet another ghost or a specter or something else?
Then you swing at the ghost until it dies. You don't need the magic sword to do that.
Yeah, but
you just need enough rage.
Mad Lad is just like, maybe, but at the same time, if bullets couldn't really do much to a ghost, I'm not very sure if a sword would be better.
He waves his paw and then writes in the ground, cowards talk. Swing at it hard enough and fast enough, it'll go down eventually. It is a war of persistence, not magic.
Yeah, you're lucky I decided to just stick with my swordplay and didn't use my magic. Or at least not in the attacky sort of way.
He gives you a look at that. He then writes down, "Well, if I could heal you, I could politely ask for a round 2, but unfortunately..."
Look, there's always health potions, in the treehouse. We can find one.
Roll me an investigation check.
Alright. That's how the day is. That's a 3. That's a 2 plus... Wait. Is it investigation more? No, that's a 4. Correction. I can't do math.
All the cabinets are conveniently empty, and the only place you even see a potion is in a shatterproof locked box that says emergencies only.
Mad Lad just
It's also too tall for you.
yeah, and Mad Lad just looks at it. He's just like, you know what? This is my day. He's like, yep, this is how the day is going.
As you do this, Thor is going to reach into his hammer space to try and pull out sunflower seeds, again briefly forgetting he can't eat. And then pushes it toward his face, and it just pushes, tries pushing past the blueberry glue. Can't. You watch as the once confident little Ham slowly droops in that anime style. The twinkly eyes go slightly watery.
It'll go away naturally. Don't worry.
You then hear the tiniest little row, 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 row from his stomach.
I'll make sure to get you. I'll make a big meal myself for you.
Also, if you hear me make meows, they're not in character. Sassy is a. Do you want headbox, baby?
Aw, Sassy.
You want headbox, Sassy? You want to say hi to the audience?
Hi, Sassy.
Did you hear the little noise she made?
No, I didn't. It was a bit too soft.
Sassy, you want to headbutt the mic? Thank you for shoving your tail in my face. Hi. You want to headbutt the mic? You want to say hi to my friend? Oh. Okay, you just want headbutts from me. Okay, baby. Come here.
Yeah, though Mad Lad does remember, eventually he does have at least one thing of Cure Wounds still as a spell slot, so he does do that. He does heal himself up a little bit because he remembers that. Where's my D8?
Thor is no longer near dirt that he can ride into, but
he does heal 5 HP.
He does give you a thumbs up.
Yeah, Mad Lad gives a thumbs up back.
And then also gives you a very lighthearted and affectionate, what you assume is a little Ham's equivalent of a middle finger.
Yeah, Mad Lad gives a double bird back.
The hamster also gives a double bird. And then points it at the glue.
Mad Lad just, like, cat smiles, that 3 sort of cheeky smile. Hey, I'm proud of myself. I haven't been able to use that, in battle before. I'm glad it just worked out perfectly as the way I thought it would.
He thinks in a moment, then nods, and he's going to reach into his hammer space again. Why is it I never fumble on these things when I want to fumble?
It'd be like that.
He then pulls out something you can't see, and a piece of chalk. And he writes something down. Before he puts it away, if you want to, you can peek at it.
Mad Lad will try to peek.
Perception.
Alright. Not the best roll. That's well, it's still a high modifier, so we'll see if I get anything. 15?
It is a very tiny chalkboard scoreboard. On one side, it appears to be the, of course, Japanese katakana for So-san, or Thor-san. The other side is Mad Lad. Thor puts a tally on his side and then puts the scoreboard away.
Mad Lad glares at him. Wait until I get a fucking good sword.
He tries to move his mouth to say something, but again, the glue has sealed it shut.
Yeah, Mad Lad sighs. Alright, I need to take a rest, and you probably say, well, I'm not very sure what you're gonna do for the next, I don't know, at most, maybe 3-4 hours?
He holds up fingers he holds up 3 little paw digits. Three stubby little claws.
Alright. I could take a short rest, and then I'll fix you something to eat. Since he did sound hungry.
He brightens right up at that. Ears stop drooping and everything. And then there's another growl.
Patience. Maybe take a nap too as Mad Lad heads back to his room.
Thor tries to shake his head and explain that trying to fall asleep when his mouth can't open is probably a bad thing, but you've already walked off. So he sighs through his nose, shrugs, and he just decides he is going to, he's just politely going to look over some of his other spoils for the next 3 hours, and by look over, I mean he's going to go out and he's going to help butcher those deer for the next 3 hours.
Fair enough. And
if you go around to that part of the treehouse, it doesn't smell great, but later on you do have 2 nice deer pelts, or at least Thor does.
Yeah.
And the treehouse does have a good portion of deer meat to use.
Yeah, Mad Lad, once he rests up and everything, he does go into the kitchen and make whatever he can for Thor.
As you head into the kitchen, you do actually see something else come in. And I'm just describing this because this is the tail end, so this may curtail into the next one if we so choose.
Yeah, this may be
You
a good
actually
segue.
see some tunes that walk. What?
I say, we'll see what happens. I say, continue on.
You see some tunes that walk by the kitchen entryway, carrying the unconscious body of Belle, who appears to be snoring like a train. Well, snoring like a car, more or less. Just... And you recognize that as the party that originally went out to Goldwyn, as Belle is being carried back to his bunk by what appears to be Ross and Space Nomad. Bowtyke has also immediately barreled past you to get herself some ice cream.
Mad Lad just shrugs. He's like, well, there goes, he's used to this sort of side. Punting parties going in and back.
So, yeah. At least they've arrived at home safe and sound.
Indeed. But I think this is a good place to cut it off. Oh, I hope everyone has enjoyed listening to this now and into the future. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.